Hello, so today our topic is solving proportional relationships. Our essential question is, how do I solve proportional relationships? So we're going to look at two different situations where sometimes we'll be given the proportion, so they give you the actual proportion for you to solve. Other times they'll give you the word problem where you have to first write the proportion and then solve the proportion after you write it down. So to get us started, we're going to start with the situation where they give you the proportion and you just have to solve from there. So in this situation, we have 3 feet per 7 seconds is equal to 6 feet per an X amount. So X means we're not sure. It's a variable, so that we are not sure what that value is. That is what we are solving for. We can assume though that it would be seconds because if these are feet, then and this one is seconds, then we'd assume that our value in the denominator on the right side is also in seconds, because you match the units in each spot. So let's say to solve our proportion, the method that we use for this is called cross multiplication. So we're actually going to cross multiply, which don't get confused cross multiplication with multiply across, because when you multiply across, you're just multiplying from numerator, numerator, denominator. Cross multiplication is where you're multiplying where they're going to actually make a cross. So in this situation, you're multiplying the numerator with the denominator on the other side and vice versa, the denominator with the numerator from the other side. So then when you do this multiplication, you end up with 3 times x, which is 3x, is equal to, remember your equals in the center, 7 times 6, which equals 42. So then this just becomes a one-step equation that you need to solve. So to solve this is like multiplication. This is like saying 3 times x. So then to solve this, you would do the inverse operation, which is the opposite operation. So if you're multiplying, the opposite would be to divide. So on both sides of your equation, you are going to divide by your coefficient, which is your value next to x, which is 3. Because if you look at this ends up making a giant 1. So then this simplifies to just x. And then if you divide by 3 on the other side, because whatever you do to one side of your equation, you have to do the other side. 42 divided by 3 is equal to 14. So you get what x equals, but that is not the end. You also need to put your units. And we knew we need to look at what we were solving for in the x, which we decided was our seconds, because that's what we had on the left side of our proportion. So then this should be seconds. So 14 seconds for 6 feet. Same process on this, right on the next one. We are cross multiplying and then dividing. So cross multiply. So we are multiplying numerator with denominator, denominator with the numerator. So 12. So first we're going to do 30 times x, which is equal to 30x. And then equals 12 times 15, which is equal to 180. So then it becomes a one-step equation where you have 30x is equal to 180. To solve for this 30x, or to eliminate this 30, we need to divide. To do the inverse operation, we're going to divide 30 on both sides. And then 30x divided by 30 makes a giant 1. So then you're just left with x equals 180 divided by 30, which is equal to 6. You have the answer x equals 6, but you are not done because this needs a unit. If we were talking about miles in the numerator on the left side, then we should also be looking for the miles in the numerator on the right side. So our answer should be 6 miles for 15 hours. All right, so that's how you that's how you solve a proportion when the proportion is already set up for you. Now we need the process of how we set up a proportion when the setup is not done for you. So if we look at the situation, Jayla paints 3 rooms in 7 hours. How many hours will it take her to paint 12 rooms? So first you need to think, what are our 2 units in this problem? What are the 2 things that we're focusing on? That's the first step. We look at it, we're thinking about rooms and hours. So then we're trying to find out anytime they say rooms or hours. Typically, they say it about 4 times when it's a basic problem like this, because that is the 4 parts of your proportion. The numerator denominator equals a numerator and denominator. So then those are the 4 spots. That won't always be the case, but for more basic proportion relationships, that will be the case. So in this situation, we need to create our proportion. So we already know automatically it's going to be a fraction equal to another fraction. That's what we know because that's how all proportions are set up. So then we look at the situation. It says rooms and hours are 2 units. So you just pick which one you want to be rooms, which one you want to be hours. I'm just going to pick the numerator to be rooms and the denominator to be hours. Because I picked that here, I have to do the same on the other side, rooms, hours. So that is what I decided. You could have picked hours to be in the numerator or rooms to be in the denominator. Totally up to you. As long as you have them matched on each side, that's all that matters. So it says she paints 3 rooms and 7 hours. So you're going to match these numbers with the unit. So 3 rooms goes in the numerator. 7 hours goes in the denominator. So then on the right side, you need the second part of this problem, which says how many hours. So it looks like we don't know how many hours will it take her to paint 12 rooms. So we do know it's 12 rooms. So that's going to go in our numerator, but we don't know how many hours, so we can label that as X. So to solve this, we are going to do the same steps where we cross multiply and then divide. So we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to do 3 times X, which equals 3X. And then 7 times 12, which is 84. So then now we are going to solve for X. We want to get rid of the value next to X, which is 3. In order to do that, we got to do the opposite operation, which is division. So on both sides, we are going to divide by 3. This makes a giant 1, and you're left with X equals 84 divided by 3 is 28. But we are looking for 28 what? You look back in the problem, the X was next to the hours, so this should be 28 hours. So it takes 28 hours to paint 12 rooms. So different situation, Isaiah's making lemonade and needs 3 liters of water and 4 lemons per batch. He currently has 12 lemons. How many liters of water does he need? So same situation where we're going to set it up. We got to look at first, what are our units in this situation? So we have liters and the lemons. So it looks like we're comparing liters and lemons. So let's see, where does it say it elsewhere in the problem? He currently has 12 lemons. How many liters? So we don't know how many liters. That's what it looks like. So when we set this up, we need to start by just setting up our portion. We know that it's going to be a fraction equal to another fraction. Now we just need to fill in the parts. So we know our 2 units is liters and lemons. Doesn't matter which one you set as your numerator or your denominator. I'm just going to say liters in the numerator, lemons in the denominator. And when I do that on the left side, I also have to do the same thing on the right side. Liters, lemons. Perfect. So then now I'm going to go back to the problem and see what values go for each part. So there was 3 liters of water and 4 lemons. So 3 liters. So I'm going to make it 3 liters and then 4 lemons. And for the second part, it says he currently has 12 lemons. How many liters of water? So if he has 12 lemons, we don't know how many liters. So then that we can label X. So then now we are just going to cross multiply and divide like we've done in the previous problems. 3 times 12 and 4 times X. So we have 4 times X, which equals 4X. And then 3 times 12, which equals 36. And then this becomes a one-step equation that we need to solve. So we are going to take our coefficient, which is our number next to X, and we are going to use that to divide on both sides by 4. This makes our giant 1. So then this simplifies to just X equals 36 divided by 4 is 9. We do not just end it at 9. We figure out what was our units. It was 9 liters. So to complete this, we're going to come up with a quick little summary. So for this problem, or for these types of problems, so basically to solve proportional relationships, you cross multiply then divide by the coefficient. Which is just the number next to X. And then to set up, make sure you match units in the numerator and denominator. So whichever unit you pick to go in the numerator, make sure you put it on both sides. And then whatever number you, or whatever unit you decide to go in the denominator, you should do the same on both sides. Other than that, that is how you solve proportional relationships. Please let your teacher know if you have any questions about how to do these problems. Thank you.